Ben
All
not
right.
on?
Ben's off today. He's flying.
Okay. All right. Good morning and welcome to another Friday morning safety meeting. It's the 27th of June, which means days are getting shorter all the way to deer season, right? So keep that in mind. This week's code of conduct item of the week is strive to maintain a positive and professional image of ECI to our employees, our clients, vendors, subcontractors, and the public. I think this is a really, really big one because a lot of times, yeah, our brand is the logo on the side of the truck, and that tells everybody who we are, but how we treat the public and other people on site and just in general and how we drive and everything like that really says a lot about our brand. So just be mindful of that, and there's no better way to ruin a relationship than just to not be a genuine, kind person. So,
Well said, Tom.
we have 42 days without a recordable injury, 14 days without a first aid injury. Sorry, there's a typo, and 7 days without an at-fault vehicle incident.
Yeah, having a good week. Let's finish it strong.
Yep. All right, this week we're going to talk about heat stress. Should be a fairly quick one. Obviously, it was really hot this week, so uh, now that it's cooling off, we figure it's a good time to do some heat stress talk. So different types of heat stress you have rashes. So once you get kind of sweat and everything on your clothes and it sits on your skin, then you start to get rashes and stuff like that. Heat cramps, that's going to be your first real sign of any sort of heat stress. Your muscles cramp due to being dehydrated and need for electrolytes. Fatigue, you're going to get weak and tired. Then you're going to get to heat exhaustion, and we don't want to get to this point. So you have headache, nausea, vertigo, weakness, thirst, and giddiness. And then heat stroke is the worst of all, and that's the most serious injury. And your body temperature regulation stops working, and you can start to get to deadly levels, and that's when you really need hospitalization for a while. So once you start, you're still going to be sweating at heat exhaustion. You're going to stop sweating at heat stroke. So the biggest things for prevention are drink cool water. You want to take rest breaks. You want to find shade or a cool area. You want to dress for the heat, so make sure that you're not wearing dark colored clothes and stuff on really hot days. Um, if you can wear something on your hard hat that kind of keeps the sun off your neck and your face and stuff, that works well too. You just want to keep an eye on each other, and we're not going to be wearing face coverings, so that's fine. Um, the big thing is if you're a laborer or something like that, and you're really working hard out there in the heat, you really need to speak up if you start feeling woozy or any sort of weird situation. It's way better to take 15 minutes in the AC and drinking some cool water than it is to spend days and days and days out of work because of heat stroke, right? Or heat exhaustion. If you're a leader of any type, making sure that you're picking up Gatorade, cold water, all that sort of stuff for these hot days, making sure if anybody asks for a break in the heat because they're not feeling well, that you give it to them. Um, Something as simple as popsicles or something. A box of popsicles is like $5. Goes a long ways when it comes to this sort of thing. Not only for the coldness of them, but just for the break that they provide, right? Hydrate, hydrate, hydrate. You want to hydrate after work for the next day. You want to hydrate before work, during work, all the time. Just stay hydrated. Um, this says drink 1 cup of cool water for every 20 minutes, but as long as you're working, you should pretty much have water going constantly. You want to avoid energy drinks and alcohol, especially the night before, and when your work performance may suffer when you're dehydrated, even if you don't notice. So you want to watch for any signs, and if in doubt, it says call 911, but we don't want to get to that point. So our goal needs to be to nip it in the bud before it becomes something that we need to call 911 for. So we want to avoid headaches, nausea, weakness, dizziness, any sort of that sort of stuff. But like I said, the minute that we start having that, we need to be self-policing, telling our supervisors that we need a break because of the heat and taking those breaks and affording them to any workers. The following are signs of medical emergency. These are when you actually need to call 911. Slurred speech, abnormal thinking or behavior, seizures, or loss of consciousness. And like I said, if somebody stops sweating, that's also good reason. So let's see here. I'm gonna stop sharing.
Yep. Just our annual refresher on heat stress. So we were told that it may become an OSHA compliance standard, but it's not looking like it's the case anymore. But we still need to prevent rest, shade, and water to our workers. So thanks for that, Tom.
Yep.
I'll fire up the email. Start at the top. Everybody see that okay?
Yep.
Awesome. So good job, Tom, on heat stress. So quick announcements. Next week, we will be closed a week from today for the 4th. So we will not have a safety meeting next Friday. So 3-day weekends, let's make sure site security is good and strong and tight so we don't have any theft or vandalism on our projects. We'll probably send out a quick reminder before that, maybe the Wednesday or Thursday leading into next week. Also, Atlanta's trying to throw out some photos out on the social media for if you have any projects with flags, and also anyone that has served in the U.S. military or active duty or reserves or the Guard. Please let her know so we can be highlighted. Her contact information is here, and the pictures will go out on our the social media platforms. We do have another employee owner idea of the week. This is by Elliot. So thanks, Elliot, for contributing. Return spare or damaged extension cords to the ECI tool crib. We've seen a steady flow of heavy duty 12x3 extension cords going out to the field, but rarely see them returned. Even when damaged or needed new ends. So many of the cords are 100-foot long or 50-foot long, and the tool crib has extension cord ends in stock and can replace them and save the cost of buying new cords. There are also a need for cords shorter than 100 or 50. So be sure to bring in those damaged cords back to the tool crib so we can save a little bit of money of just purchasing new cords every time. Thought that was a very good suggestion. We have the same post from last week regarding the Dragon Boat Festival that Sarah Wong will be participating in for raising money for breast cancer awareness. And Sarah is a survivor of breast cancer. So if you want to donate to her team and to help a good cause, would much appreciate that. And then ongoing, here is the 13 meetings to date so far. Hopefully we'll have a couple more here in the up and coming future. It's just the ESOP informal meeting, so take advantage of that. If Aaron and team would come to your job site, if that would work better. We're still on the premium holiday for a couple more weeks. Looks like the last one is on the 18th of July. So continue to save money for that. We do have a couple new employees this week. Welcome in Jacob. He's going to be a civil with the civil team. And then we have True Hansen from UVM. He's helping with the concrete, summer help. And then lastly is Dylan, concrete foreman, coming on board this week as well. So if you see them, welcome to the team. Introduce yourself so they feel like they're part of the team. And then the rest is standard stuff. Take advantage of the wellness program or the employee assistance program if you need it. Give Aaron a call if you want more information, or you could call myself as well. And then project of the week is going to be done by Ben. Ben, you out there?
Yes, I am.
Do you want me to drive or you want to take over?
I can drive.
Okay, I'll stop sharing.
Okay. You guys see that?
Yes, we do.
Cool. So today we're going to take a second look at a project we did in Fairley. It's the 4330A culvert project. We're contracted with AOT on this project, which involves reconstructing an existing historic stone box culvert underneath the Washington County Railroad and installing a new 84-inch emergency/overflow bypass or high water permanent culvert with cast in place concrete head walls and a wing wall. The existing stone box has 2 barrels, 4x4 each, and it's about 23 feet below the top of rail. And the last time we looked at the job, we had just completed the one and only shutdown we used. I think by contract we had 4 or 5. We only needed 1. The way we chose to attack the project. And during that shutdown, we installed that permanent 84-inch pipe in addition to a fairly complex excavation support system that facilitated reconstructing 20 feet of box on one side, 5 feet on the other. So tucking that embankment TOA slope way back into the tracks with excavation support so the trains could keep rolling while we not only excavated and did our cast in place concrete walls, but also reconstructed the stone box. So you can see this drone photo. Elena actually found this online. I think one of our inspectors must have done it. I don't think it was any of us, but a pretty cool bird's eye view of the job. Quite a ways after the shutdown, you can see the cast in place concrete work is well underway at the time of the drone photo. The black pipe is plastic coated CMP. That's the permanent pipe. For our bypass system, we chose just to extend it with some 84-inch pipe we had in stock and get it way past the wing wall so we could collect the water and then channel it downstream and get it through and be on the job site. So you can see we built an access bridge and used some half pipe sections. Our stone box culvert work was on the far side from our access point of the cast in place concrete and the 84-inch pipe. So we used half pipes and a little mini bridge to get equipment over there to access that work. We used cofferdams, pretty simple cofferdams on each side to keep the water out of the job site from the upstream and then to control backwater from the downstream side of the job site. And we carefully excavated the existing stone box. One of the things that was challenging and a little unique about this job is that the masonry was pretty poor. It was in poor shape, but part of the reason it was because the stones that they had to work with 100 years ago, more than 100 years ago, 120 years ago at least, when they built it, were irregular. They must have built this late in the game because a lot of the structures on this railroad benefited from really nice, clean rectangular stone. This job had a lot of small irregular stuff. So the guys very carefully excavated it, numbered each of the stones. By spec, we were supposed to reuse as many of the stones as we could. We ultimately used a lot of new or reclaimed stuff because of how hard it is to build good quality masonry with triangular shaped rock. Here's a security cam picture of the job not too far after that first shutdown. Here's on the other side. This would be the outlet side with the, you can see how kind of crappy, I guess, for lack of a better word, that existing construction was once we got all the soil off of it. So we excavated underneath our permanent pipe / bypass for the cast in place work, which you can see there. It's pretty challenging. Besides limited access, just working around that permanent work and our bypass and the sheets definitely made that work tough, especially excavation and backfill. There's a lot of handwork under the pipe. So we work simultaneously on both prepping and building the cast in place head wall and wing wall work while reconstructing the box right next to it. Our foundation for the head walls was quite a bit deeper than the existing and reconstructed stone box, which required a subfooting, just another course of masonry underneath the stone box. You can see footing forms being set there. Tied. So while we're doing all that, we're working on the other side of the pipe, reconstructing the stone box. There you can see the base course in. some nice painted chalk lines, and much cleaner, tighter, more rectangular masonry going back in. Did buy a grapple rotator for this because you could really only have one good place to sit. I think you probably could have done it with a thumb, but this gave us full 360 to place the stones just where we wanted. Pretty handy. And now we have it. So keep that in mind if you have waste block walls or something like that to build. You can see the outlet box essentially constructed and the head wall and wing wall forms getting closed up. So just a fun little fact, I think, for the cofferdams is on the upstream cofferdam, we did build a weir into it. And it was a pretty deep channel of this existing brook. And that weir was nice because, you know, on paper, that 7 foot wouldn't take a real big storm. You needed both the double box and the 7 foot to accommodate a sizable storm. But what that weir did is it allowed control flow over the cofferdam into the pipe, but then also held back some flow, you know, allowing the head elevation of the brook within the channel behind our work, upstream of our work, to rise, which would then push it faster with more pressure through and beyond the job site. You can see there's also gabion, so there's major cast in place walls on the pipe side, but then on the other side of the stone box, which has seen a lot of erosion and scour of the embankment as it wrapped around. The contract called for gabion walls, which we built, and you can see there. The slopes did get stone fill that got grubbed over, which is everybody's favorite detail, I think. I think they came out pretty good. A lot of the concrete, you can see now that the head wall stripped, came out great. The guys did a great job. A lot of that work is below grade, as is the case with a lot of our work. So after we got the permanent work done, it was time to deconstruct that excavation support system. Truckloads and truckloads of waste blocks and soldier piles, lagging, tiebacks, tie rods, and sheet piles. And you can see the crane there up on the tracks, yanking sheets. Limited access job, everything's in and out via the rail. Essentially, we flooded the track so we could drive rubber tire equipment in and out. But for heavy stuff like this, push cars and have our own little sheet pile train. You can see that it did also rain fairly this year. Here's the team in front of the finished work. This is part of the core crew, certainly not the whole crew. We had track crew, concrete crew, our goat operator, and our mason, not pictured here, and also mechanics, truck drivers. Took a lot of ECI employees, a lot of hard work to make this job come together. Here's the finished product with some grass growing. This is the inlet side. And let me switch back.
Very professional project.
Yeah, we were really happy with it. The job went really good. Morale on site was high. Started this winter, and our completion date's actually November 2026. So if anything comes up, any punch list stuff, we've got a little bit of time to get back down there and fix it, but I'm not sure we'll have to.
Yeah, that's awesome.
From the archives, ECI campus aerial photos, 1999. Zoom in a little bit here.
A lot of equipment in the yard.
Yeah, no overhead doors on Pat's shop. It looks like we probably didn't own it at that time.
Wow, no.
See the AC shop. You see the old salt shed where we parked the skid steers now? That's where the salt used to go. And a lot less iron back then, too.
Yeah, it's like tucked in right where all the concrete forms are now, right?
That's what it looks like, yeah.
I'm looking at it right.
Or maybe where the conduit buildings are, the conduit and pipe fitting buildings.
Oh, yeah.
And then here's the backyard. That doesn't look that different.
No.
A lot less tool trailers back then. I don't know how we did it. Pretty cool.
That is cool.
Very.
All right, if you're watching the group setting, please send that over to Tom or myself so we can capture it. Let's work safe today. Let's work together. And don't forget to send some photos to Elaine if you can for next week's kind of email that we'll send out. But remember, no meeting next week, 3-day weekend. So site security is very important.
Thanks,
Have a
guys.
safe
See ya.
day. Thank you. Thanks, Ben.
Thanks.